What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be making the world's widest fingerboard. Now you can follow along if you want. I'm going to be showing you guys every step that I took to make this. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm just tracing my normal fingerboard, and I'm actually going to make it wider. As you can see here, I'm just extending the sides a little bit, and I'm just going to cut it out. I'm going to use this cardboard to trace on paper what I want the shape of the board to be, so that each piece of paper is the same shape and I don't have to cut it later in the video. Now here I'm just tracing it on the paper, and now I'm going to fold the paper to make it easier to cut. I'm just making sure that there's a little bit of overhang after I fold the paper, so that when I glue them together it doesn't cause issues with leaving gaps in the paper. Now the paper should be about the right size as the board you trace, so you just cut off all the overhang. And this will make it easier, so I won't have to cut it after it's all glued and dried. I'll just have to sand it down to make it even. Now you should have about maybe 12 to 20 slabs of this so that you can have the correct thickness of the board that you want whenever you're gluing them together. And whenever you're gluing them together, make sure you have enough glue. This is huge because if you don't have enough glue, the board will split down the middle, and nobody wants that to happen. So make sure you have enough glue. As you can see, I was not scarce on the glue at all. And when you're gluing them together, make sure you press down enough. At the end, you'll see how I just basically push the whole thing into the table. And this is just to make sure that the board doesn't fall apart after it's done drying. And it might be easier to glue the first piece of paper down on the cardboard so that it's easier to spread out the glue with your finger. And that's what I ended up doing. So at this stage, you really want to make sure that you push it all down so that the excess glue can come out the side. This will allow it to dry even faster and be more compact overall, so it'll help you in many ways. Now I'm just making the form to get the shape of the fingerboard correct. I'm just folding little pieces of excess paper to fit the shape that I want the board to be. So I'm just gonna put like a box, and then I'm gonna push the fingerboard down in the middle so that the sides have a little bit of a curvature, and then the tail and the toe of the board will also have a curve to it. I definitely recommend taking a lot of time to do this part because this really determines how good the fingerboard actually is. As you can see here, I'm folding it because this form didn't work perfectly to start, but after folding it, it fit in and it turned out pretty good. Now just give it time to dry. Once it's completely dry, you can take it out of the form and take another fingerboard and use the holes to put marks in where you want the screws to go into the trucks. Now be very precise with this part, because if you're not, it'll cause you problems whenever you're actually putting the trucks on. Now my tail on my fingerboard was a little bit higher than the actual fingerboard, so it did take a little bit more time for me to get it accurate, but it still worked out because I just had a lead pencil that could reach my paper fingerboard. Now you just want to clean the board up, sand it in any way that it needs, make sure you get all the little crevices that you don't like out and all the imperfections, and then it should be pretty smooth and you're ready to put the trucks on. So to put the trucks on, I just take a screwdriver and I'm just like basically drilling holes into the fingerboard. This works really good, and I don't really see a need to use a drill bit, but if you want it to be super precise, you can use a drill bit. And then you just sand off the excess that was left by the screwdriver, because there will be a little bit of paper that comes out of the board. You just do this to both sides and make sure it's as precise as possible so you don't have problems with the trucks, and then yeah, you're ready to put them on. And yeah, that's about it. So here's the finished product of the board. I think it turned out pretty cool, but the question is, does it ride? So super hard to control and not nearly as easy as a thin fingerboard, but it still was a lot of fun, and I think it was a cool concept to definitely try out. So I would recommend trying it out because it is a good time, but is it more efficient than a normal fingerboard to do tricks? Definitely not, but it's a lot of fun. So if you guys made it here in the video, please be sure to subscribe and like the video. I'd greatly appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.